Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another webinar hosted by the Greenwich Hospital Medical Library, Where to Find Kidney Disease Resources. My name is Veronica Belenkin, and I'm the Consumer Health Librarian at Greenwich Hospital. For those of you who do not know me or what a Consumer Health Librarian is, I basically help find and organize and evaluate health information for residents of Greenwich and its surrounding communities. I also make people aware of the local support resources that are available to them in their area, and in doing so, help people help people make better healthcare decisions for themselves. So, as you can see by my background, that I'm making this webinar as March is National Kidney Month or Awareness Month. And the basic format of my Where to Find series, as you'll see on my website, is that I show off or help you navigate through a couple of reliable websites related to kidney disease resources. So that's going to be the format of this webinar tonight. I start off every webinar that I have with a disclaimer that this presentation is for educational informational purposes only, as I am not clinically trained and I'm not able to diagnose anyone. All information that's presented here should be consulted with or discussed with your doctor or other healthcare provider with regarding any medical advice before making any lifestyle decisions that impact your health. And all images used in this presentation are sourced from reliable websites or is licensed under Creative Commons copyright. So the topics that we're covering today, under all these, and what I mean by that is all the websites that I'm recommending tonight have the following topics covered when it comes to kidney disease. So we're basically using the internet to find out about the different types of kidney disease, general information on those types of kidney disease, nutrition management involved with kidney disease, treatment options involved with kidney disease, and last but not least, local and state support resources with regards to kidney disease. And since the bulk of my audience is from Connecticut, I tend to share that particular state's resources. And I usually have a section of my webinars that talks about statistics and current state of kidney disease in the United States, but I found this great video from Johns Hopkins Medicine that they have a whole YouTube channel. I highly recommend that you check them out. We're going to be listening to a minute into this 6-minute video with a really nice nephrologist, Dr. Daphne Nicely. She's going to tell us a little bit more about chronic kidney disease. Oops.
Welcome to the ABCs of kidney disease. I'm Daphne Nicely, and today I'm going to talk to you about the causes and stages of chronic kidney disease. This video is a part of the Johns Hopkins Nephrology Patient Education Program, and we like to thank our sponsors, the Ed Krause Endowment and the Shaw Foundation. So chronic kidney disease is a silent problem in the United States. There are 30 million people in the United States alone that have kidney disease. That's about 1 in 7 people. And the crazy fact about this is 97% of them have absolutely no idea they have kidney disease. That's because most of the time kidney disease is silent. There's no symptoms until you've basically lost 90% of your kidney function and you're getting close to needing dialysis. Now, a lot of people are at risk for kidney disease. 1 in 3 patients with diabetes is at risk. 1 in 5 with high blood pressure is at risk. Also, those that are over the age of 60, that are obese, have cardiovascular disease, or certain ethnic groups are at risk for kidney disease. So how do we screen or...
So you can definitely check out the rest of this video on your own time. It's very informative, and there's a whole series on kidney disease led by Dr. Daphne Nicely. But yeah, it's pretty amazing in a bad way how prevalent this is and how silent it is. It's almost the same issue we have with heart disease, where it is the silent, and hypertension being the silent killer. So she briefly mentioned that when we talk about kidney disease, the most common type, as she mentioned, is chronic kidney disease. but there are multiple types besides it. But when it comes to chronic kidney disease, or CKD, 37 million of the people in the US are living with it. The specific risk factors involved with it, you can develop it over time. That is diabetes, high blood pressure, and those at risk of the most at risk are those over 60 years old. And chronic kidney disease, as she later explains in the video, comes in 5 stages. Stage 1 being mild, and stage 5 ending with end stage renal disease, ESRD, being almost complete kidney failure. But there's also different types of kidney disease, such as polycystic kidney disease. That's more of a genetic disease involving cysts developing all over the kidneys. It can cause CKD, and it's also distinguished by the fact that it's known as adult CKD, meaning that some symptoms do not show up until one is 30 or 50 years old. Again, the silent killer. Then there's also rare diseases that aren't specifically just affecting kidneys. It can affect other organs in the body. It can cause CKD while also harming other organs and tissues. Some examples are cytonesis, Berger's disease, and Fabry disease. And last but not least, this is the bane of a lot of people's existences as one gets older, for sure, and we don't drink enough water. Definitely kidney stones, infections such as UTIs, cysts, and then last but not least, the most common kidney cancer being renal cell carcinoma, which starts in tiny filters in the kidneys. All these are certain conditions of the kidneys that may lead to CKD if they're not taken care of, or a complete kidney shutdown. So I got all these descriptions from the website American Kidney Fund, which we will be talking about shortly. And I'll just leave you with this really neat picture that I found that displays the healthy kidney as opposed to the diseased kidney. And the way that when you listen to the rest of the video by Dr. Nicely, she describes how in order to diagnose someone with chronic kidney disease, one of the ways they do it is to see how much of the proteins are actually left in the urine. And if there's too much left in there, then that's indicative of kidney disease. And on the right, we have just the right. They also measure kidney disease based on something called GFR. And as you can see, each stage has a percentage of GFR. The lower your GFR is, the more likely you're at stage 5 and very close to kidney failure. So I just wanted to briefly go over how I am picking these websites for you, because what with Dr. Google being very prevalent nowadays, a lot of people are bombarded with billions upon billions of search results when they put in literally anything health related. So one of the ways I consider certain questions, or I ask myself certain questions when I encounter a website that's claiming to have the most accurate or reliable information about a medical condition. Who is the author of the website? What information is being provided? When was the information written or updated? And why was the site created, to educate or sell something? And the last two in particular are what I deem pretty important, because in the scientific community, I believe it's supposed to be, or at least what I share among patients and people who come to see me, I make sure that the information is at least 5 years old at most. Maybe 2 would be a lot better. So that's why you need to always check when the information was written or updated, particularly when it comes to health information, because it changes a lot based on new research, clinical trials results, all that stuff. And why was the site created? To educate or sell something. There is such a pervasive and insidious industry of frauds and health scams and diet supplements that are not, regulated by the FDA or any kind of regulatory organization. People are just trying to make a buck off of vulnerable people trying to find a cure. And that is why websites need to be definitely evaluated for that in particular. So the common signs of a reliable website The URL should end in .org or .net as opposed to something like .com. Information consistently updated within the last 2 years so that you know that it's accurate and consistent with new information and research. And that if your website that you're looking at health information on does not have a transparent about section or a medical advisory board with contact information, it's not very reliable, because you definitely want people with expertise involved, and to be able to ask them questions and for them to receive feedback is very important for them to start a dialogue with people actually visiting their website. So this will be a whole webinar in itself, just how to evaluate information. But in the meantime, if anybody is interested in learning how to evaluate health information online, Medline Plus, my favorite database, has a really great tutorial. And then I always recommend this handout, Trust It or Trash It. It basically just goes over all these questions and helps you, gives you helpful examples on how to spot the difference between a reliable website and an unreliable website. So where to start? I basically already gave the answer in the last slide. Medline Plus is my favorite database. It is where I go to when somebody asks me a question on a medical condition for me to research just anything about it. And this is the first place I go, Medline Plus. It is a free online database, very easy to use, multiple languages available, and it is developed and constantly updated and peer reviewed by the National Library of Medicine, the largest medical library in the world. And I will quickly just show you right here. This is their page just on kidney diseases. As you can see, it's very nicely organized. I like to call this database a gateway database because it provides all the links to all sorts of reliable organizations. So as opposed to like a Google page on the same topic that would have like billions and billions of search results, have like now they're starting to do it. They have like an ad sponsorship, whatever symbol on the side of it. You'll find no ads here, and you'll definitely find exactly what you're looking for because it's organized into specific categories. So if you want to go directly to diagnoses and tests, you just click there and you're immediately over here. And you want other languages, they're right here. They have related topics over there, and it's very nicely organized, easy to read, and this is why I constantly recommend it. And when it comes to kidney disease, when it comes to wanting to know about the diagnoses and the tests involved or the medications involved, they have other topics right up here. So you want to look up the GFR, how that's measured, you go to medical tests. If you want to learn about the drugs that your doctor is most likely to prescribe you when you start dialysis, for instance, or when you're at a later stage of kidney disease, you go under drugs and supplements and be able to look up the side effects and all that stuff. I have a webinar webinar tutorial just on Medline Plus in my website that I can show later. And then the National Kidney Foundation, which is also another website that I will be mentioning. For those of you in the audience who are more would like more print resources, they have a great reading list. I'll show you right here. This is from like I said, this is from the National Kidney Foundation, and they have a staff pick list. So as you can see, some of them are non-fiction, but obviously some, like this one, Moonface: A True Romance, are fiction that's related to a character having kidney disease, because sometimes fiction can be just as informative as nonfiction. In fact, it can draw us in even more if there's a narrative. So this is just some picks that the staff who run the National Kidney Foundation have out. And because nutrition management is really important when it comes to kidney disease, I thought it would behoove the audience to have a list of cookbooks updated June 2019. I love it when they put down when they review it. So as you can see, a ton of blogs and online recipe links, lots of recommendations. Just in case anybody doesn't know where to start, this would be a good place to start. And the first website I want to start with is known as the American Kidney Fund. So with each of these websites that I'm going to be going over, I'm just going to go over quickly what features I thought were very useful to people and just quickly show you on the website where to find those specific features. So for instance, American Kidney Fund has a lot of easy to read material on all subjects related to kidney disease, including on transplantation, one of the most common treatment options. It features educational webinars that feature nephrologists and renal dietitians as the speakers and the hosts. They offer financial assistance options and the applications needed to apply for those options. And what I really enjoyed looking through was the Kidney Kitchen, where you can find kidney-friendly eating and recipes at every stage of kidney disease, shopping lists and guides provided, and it also explains in great detail what the intake of phosphorus, potassium, sodium, fluid, and protein should be. Of course, that should be discussed with your renal dietitian, but it's a good starting point and a place where you want to research on your own. So I'll just quickly show you how the website looks. So this is the home page. And when it comes to the easy to read things, so this, as you can see, it's very nicely categorized. When I go into types, for instance, this is where I got all the information for my types of kidney disease information. So you go down to rare diseases, you can go all the way down to kidney cancer, and it goes down here, learn more, click on that. Basically, it outlines every page just like as if a patient was asking a question to their healthcare provider. And I really like that because they're trying to take in the patient's perspective when asking questions. And then we have the financial assistance page. You go over here and they talk about if you're living with kidney failure and unable to afford your treatment related expenses, you can apply through this website for grants, for benefits, even for prescription drugs. So you can see there's a lot of options available, which is great. And then we also have the educational webinars. This will be under education. You go to education and there's webinars. So you can see the upcoming webinars and the past ones. They range from how to prevent diabetic kidney disease to something called the cooking doc, potassium-friendly cooking demonstration. So you can see they have all the names of the people involved, what their area of expertise is, etc. Really great stuff in a time when everything is virtual now and you can't just go to a health fair or conference. And then they have advocacy. And then last but not least, we have the Kidney Kitchen, which is its own separate thing at the top of the screen. So you could start here, you could go straight to the recipes. You can have the guides on getting information on cooking and shopping. And also where I talked about the intake of potassium, sodium, and protein. This is where you'd go to read about that. If we just click on a random recipe here, Spanish almond cake sounds good. So as you can see, they list right here that they have low sodium, medium phosphorus, low potassium, and medium protein. So if your renal dietitian tells you, oh, you need something with low sodium, medium phosphorus, low potassium, medium protein, you can specifically go to a recipe that caters to those intake requirements and get a recipe like this. Tells you the ingredients, the prep time, the nutritional info, and instructions to go along with it. I don't know why there isn't a picture right here. I think it's just because the link is going through Internet Explorer, and Internet Explorer is not great. But yeah, those are some of the features that I really enjoyed about it. And you can definitely look for more on your own time. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead to the National Kidney Foundation, which I mentioned a few times before with their reading list. They're one of the most prominent websites or organizations involved with kidney disease. A lot of their material is prone to about CKD, so I would recommend, if there's another type of kidney disease that you're looking for information about, I would recommend the previous one more than this one. But if you're all about CKD, then this is where you definitely want to go. Because, for instance, they have a whole A to Z guide on kidney disease, related conditions and topics. They feature a toll-free hotline with trained specialists that you can speak to. They offer prescription discounts and financial assistance resources. They have a lot of information on becoming a living donor, insurance information, the information about the DASH diet, which is more well known to be a diet for relieving hypertension, but as we know, hypertension leads to kidney disease, so I'm assuming that's why they're recommending it for that, as well as plant-based diets. And then last but not least, they have a pretty robust selection of online support groups and forums that are distinguished by categories such as people under dialysis, people who are going through transplant, parents of those with kidney disease, and donors. Let me just show you how much they have, because I was pretty impressed with it. So this is the A to Z guide. You can find it, oh, here we go. Okay, so A to Z guide, this is the index. So as you can see, kind of reminds me of Medline Plus, where you just kind of go through it and see what exactly interests you. A to Z, like I said, A to Z. And then we have, this would be found under Kidney Basics, by the way. And then under treatment and support, I believe is where the hotline is. Yep. Okay, so under our free information helpline and NKF Cares, this is where you can get support. Yep, so they can call toll free at this number or email when they're available, etc. And then I'm gonna just go back to the PowerPoint real quick to get to this link, because I think a lot of people should know about it. Just get out of that. So I don't remember how to get to this page, but prescription discount and assistance resources should be under treatment and support, but I actually had a hard time finding it. So I just put the link in the page just so you can access it right away. Basically, it's based every time you use this card, you get a discount on your prescriptions at any pharmacy, any participating pharmacy, which is CVS, Rite Aid, Target, Walmart, Walgreens. And every time you use it, you can you're donating money to this foundation at the same time. So, and speaking of which, I actually have a little, when I actually subscribed to this foundation, they actually sent me, now it's hard to see with this background that I have, but they sent me a bunch of these cards to give out to people, and I was giving them out to visitors, but hopefully in the next few months, when visitors are allowed to see the hospital, you can definitely pick up this card for a free prescription and be able to save some money, because the medications are so expensive nowadays, and when you have kidney disease, you need them constantly just to survive. So I think it's a lot of help to them offering this. So then, like I said, oh, okay, so we're gonna go back just so I can show you the support resource, because this under communities and under treatment and support, click on communities, and these are all the online communities. See, they have one for just kidney disease, but they also have more specifically transplant, parents of children with kidney disease, dialysis community, and kidney donor community. After trying to access it through here, it doesn't look like this. It actually looks more like a forum, like a Facebook page would look like, but it's all vetted to make sure that it's patients that are interacting with each other and not just some random person just scrolling through. I would recommend accessing this through your phone because that was the only way I was able to see all of the forums and be able to actually write in if I wanted to. That's my suggestion with regards to that. Next, we have the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, which is a subsidiary of the National Institute of Health. So they have information on diabetes and digestive diseases, which can be related to kidney diseases, as Dr. Daphne nicely told us earlier in the webinar. They also feature easy to understand text and visuals that are peer-reviewed and frequently updated by experts. They also have information on kidney diseases for children and youth, which is very lacking in certain websites, particularly the ones that I mentioned before, but I like that they have a separate page just for that that's visible to people. And one of the benefits of this site is that you can keep up with the latest research and sign up for clinical studies to be part of a clinical trial to find more ways to cure these diseases. I'm just going to quickly show you what it looks like. So this is what the kidney disease section looks like. But if you went back to health information, you could see you could go to the diabetes page, digestive diseases, neurologic, diet and nutrition, all sorts of topics. But we're going to stick with kidney disease since that's the topic of tonight's webinar. So they have feature topics. Like I said, they have the children and youth section clearly highlighted here. More topics, not just on chronic kidney disease, but on other conditions as well. Statistics. And what's interesting about this website is that it's also visited by health professionals, hence why there is a research discovery section, which is where you can, it might be a little bit more medical jargony where it might be difficult to understand, but I know there are a lot of educated people in the Greenwich community and its surrounding communities who have been actually asking me for research papers. So you can actually come here on this website and look for yourself. They have news releases, but they also have research updates. So if you put in, for instance, kidney disease in the search bar and type in research updates and search, it's updating results. Yep. So the most recent thing they have is from 2016, which is a little bit interesting. But yeah, so it's delving deep into kidney with a novel imaging technique. So everything related to kidneys, kidney research and updates on it. Oh, I see. Okay, so they have stuff from 2020 here. So you just have to be sure to specify which particular date. Yep, so they have everything from 2021 here now. Next, we have a very patient-focused organization known as the American Association of Kidney Patients. And the features that I liked in it is that you can register for educational webinars, annual seminars, and interactive virtual meetings with other patients and experts. They also feature kidney-friendly web recipes that include nutritional analysis and are suitable for all types of patients, those who are diabetic, those who are on dialysis, who are not on dialysis, and others. They feature free downloadable brochures for people living with kidney disease and their caregivers. And they actually have a database that searches for support groups. They list the support groups associated with this association by state, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. bring that up. So this is what the front page of the website looks like. And we're gonna go first to the kidney-friendly recipes page. So not only, oh, I forgot to mention this, not only do they have the recipes, they actually link to the eatright.org page where you can look for a registered dietitian or nutritionist in your area that can help you get started with managing nutrition if you're one with kidney disease. And they have the links to not just their resources for recipes, they also feature DaVita Kidney Care recipes, Dialysis Clinic Incorporated's recipes, and Northwestern Kidney Center's kidney health recipes. So they do have one right here. Let's see what it looks like. Very nicely displayed. Nutrition analysis, the preparations there, the ingredients, and also how to make it. So that's the recipe section. So now we're going to go to the programs and events. You can go to AAKP Healthline, and that's the name of their series of webinars, which you have to register for ahead of time, but a lot of great, they archived their stuff from 2019. Okay, so then you can also register to watch their 2020 webinars. So they clearly have a very good list of webinars to choose from. And then we also have, I'm trying to find it. I think it's this one. Oh, okay, so this isn't what I was looking for, but we can go to support groups where I talked about how they actually list the support groups associated with this association by state. So for instance, if you wanted to know if there's an AAKP liaison in Connecticut, we click on Connecticut and it tells you exactly where in Connecticut that it is. Fortunately, it's not in Greenwich, but this is where it is. And this was updated last year, so they do recommend on the website specifically to make sure that this is still working. But I am sure that if it is still in progress, that it is a big help to people, especially now, and especially if they offer virtual services. And they even have suggestions on how to start a support group in your area if there is interest in Greenwich to start it. That's this, and if somebody's looking to start one more locally, this is the information you could look into. And then I'm trying to find the, yep, here we go. So I guess you could click here and click one of these. And you can go down to resources and there will be educational brochures and resources. So as you can see, there is a ton of free PDFs for topics ranging from diagnosis and treatment, nutrition, transplantation, related conditions, as you can see, even for mental health. This would be great to give to someone who is just recently diagnosed and just wants to know more from general information. I would give this out to any patrons that come here asking for just a brief handout to look at and bring to their next doctor's appointment. So that is the AAKP. I'm going to move on to a very interesting resource that I found recently. And all of these websites kind of point out each other. So that's also kind of how you know that they're reliable. When all these resources are recommending each other, then it's kind of like a loop of credibility that they develop. And all of these websites have a organizations to look into page. Kidney School is on all of them. And you'll see why in a second, because it features free online learning for people with chronic kidney disease. It's easy to use and understand, no need to register, reviewed by experts, and it offers web space. You can print out the modules or you can just listen in. So it's very accessible. So like I said, there's 18 modules on topics ranging from managing treatment finances to living with kidney disease. There are also book recommendations provided, and it is also available in Spanish. And it's very simply laid out. So you click on learning modules, and this is what the page looks like. That's the book recommendation. I'm planning to order it for the library. In case anybody's interested, they can check it out once visitors are free to roam the library again. So if you click on, for instance, you can either download or just view online right away. So it's sort of laid out the way that some online schools do their learning modules, in a way that they you click next, you read the page, and then they sometimes have other links or they ask you questions, and they just go one by one. Yeah, and they even have quizzes in the middle so that they can test your knowledge as they're continuing through the module. So it's just a really, really nice looking educational tool for people. And then last but not least, we have the American Transplant Foundation for those who are interested in learning more about becoming a living donor, which is becoming a really popular way in which to get a transplant. They offer a free mentorship program for patients on the transplant waiting list, living donors, and caregivers. And I was confused by this at first too, but it is not, the living donor registry is not featured on there. Do not go on this website to determine eligibility or matches. That is what Donate Life America is for. So this is a nonprofit database just primarily for providing education and support for becoming a living donor, but that is not where you register to be a living donor. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, they have a lot of resources for getting financial support, becoming a living donor, transplant FAQs. So they have the tools to get you started, very easy, categorized, very nicely organized. Living donor community, common myths and concerns. And then the program that they have a patient assistant program. They have the potential living donor database, which is where you can answer questions to join the database. Again, this is not the registry. This is not where you sign up to be a living donor or find matches near you. It's just to join the database. And then they have the mentorship program, which I mentioned already, where they can you can request a mentor to guide you through the process of becoming a living donor. It's obviously somebody who's been through the process themselves, which I think is very helpful, especially if you're new to this. So we're here on the final slide of this webinar, the local and state support. So the National Kidney Foundation, because it's so expansive of an organization, obviously has a chapter in Connecticut where they are going to have a virtual patient and community education symposium in November. You can register. Oh, this was last year, unfortunately. Okay, so I guess they have not updated this in a while. So if you want to learn more about what's going on, if there's anything recent going on, you can definitely email this or call. As you can see, they've done Connecticut kidney walks to raise money and fundraise. Oh, they have the latest news. Oh, they even have recipes on here too. Look at that. Looks good. So as you can see, it is so expansive that they do have a subsect in Connecticut. And then as part of Yale New Haven Health System, in New Haven, unfortunately, you have to drive. They do have a transplantation center where if you give them a call or contact them, they will be able to tell you more about their kidney program, where they talk about both adult and pediatric transplant services that they offer. Dialysis can be very difficult to get to, and it can be very expensive when you go to a facility or center or hospital that offers it. So I found Home Dialysis Central, which helps you search for a database that helps you search for options for home dialysis in your community. So you just search by state or by zip code and put down the type of dialysis that you would require. And they also have a lot of great information on just how to prepare for home dialysis, any type of professional tools, events. But yeah, I would definitely look up Connecticut. I think I looked this up for Greenwich and I didn't see anything. Yeah, the closest one is in Newington, Connecticut. But as you can see, this is what it would look like. The page was all the results. They have over 4 pages of results. And then we have the Town of Greenwich website has a section on healthy living, and which features a resource guide for all the resources that they provide for seniors in this community, including transportation, food delivery services, and a specific financial assistance that you can apply for. So home care guide is hospice care, housing, assisted living are some of the featured topics here. They don't have a section specifically on kidney disease or people who have CKP. But they do have just in general, for instance, if you're getting dialysis at a facility or you want somebody who's assisting you from home with dialysis, you can definitely look at all these resources that they offer here. And for caregivers especially, respite and counseling is something I always recommend people look into. All right, and that is all for this webinar. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can definitely register for more and free upcoming webinars that I am offering at the Greenwich Hospital event page, or you can call this number to register. My website is the Stephen Mickley Community Health Resource section. If you just click this link right here, it's offered right away. And this webinar and others that I will do are going to be posted under this tab, webinar recordings. My webinar for tonight will be featured in the Where to Find series box, just over here. Feel free to look at all the other ones that I've posted. And this is my list of upcoming webinars for March and April. And then lastly, my contact information in case you want more information on kidney disease and other topics. So thank you so much for attending, and I look forward to hearing your information requests. Have a great evening.